Hello everyone, welcome to episode 15 of the iSphere. I'm Joy.
And I'm I. Oh, that was well timed. And we've not been here for a week, but we're great to be back. And yeah, we've got quite a bit to talk about this week. I suppose before we get into the kind of political roundup that is becoming a very common feature of this, Joy, what's been happening to you this week?
I have mostly been working away on things and fielding questions about Amazon, which we will also be talking about later. But literally my whole week has been talking about Amazon.
Nice.
I have done nothing else.
You've got to educate the masses on Amazon.
I do, unfortunately.
But no, that's cool. I suppose we can maybe touch a wee bit on the politics side. This isn't going to be a massive political podcast, this episode at least, because we're both exhausted. We've ran the gauntlet since the Queen passed away, and there's basically been nothing else in the news. And then I suppose things to maybe touch on from a UK side of things. There was like a mini budget passed by the Conservative government. Massive tax cuts to the rich, fucking over pretty much everyone. Very, very typical Tory. The person who's the Chancellor, who passed the budget, for those of you who don't know, previously worked as a consultant for a hedge fund. That hedge fund, prior to the budget being announced, basically went against and basically backed against the UK bonds and has exploded, and I think they increased their profits by about 145% or something absurd like that. And apparently a bunch of the hedge fund people who were at meetings with Liz Truss and stuff, they were basically all betting against the UK economy. And they were shorting the sterling.
It's such faith in the people running the country at the minute.
I mean, they are that. It's just so blatant, and it's the thing that annoys me is it's super, super blatant. But yeah, we're obviously
listening who can't see my face. There's nothing but pure contempt in my face right now. That comment was sarcastic.
I think this is the result of the Tories, the people in government at the moment, the people who are in the Tory cabinet at the moment are literally the dregs. They're the bottom of the barrel when it comes to talent. They are genuinely the kind of worst of the worst. They're worst in terms of how evil they are. They're also the worst in terms of just general competency. And don't get me wrong, Boris Johnson was bad. These people are equal levels of bad and all the rest of it. But it's these folk are genuinely the worst of the worst.
It's like finding out hell has a basement.
Yeah, just a wee bit. So that's that on the kind of UK politics side. There's going to be more on this throughout the week. I'm going to be talking about it on Tumblr a lot, but I don't want to spend any more time dwelling on that. Other things, obviously, just so y'all know that we're aware of them. Obviously, there's big protests happening in Iran at the moment. There's been protests ever since a woman was killed. For I think it was the police, the morality police of Iran.
Yes.
Killed her or battered her to the point where she then passed away in hospital for not wearing the hijab correctly, and that sparked massive protests kind of nationwide across tons of cities, and that's ongoing. Unfortunately, today I think another woman was killed. She was shot by police because the police are beginning to open fire on protesters, so that's not great. Other things that are happening, obviously, on the kind of Ukraine and Russia side of things, Russia has kind of declared a mobilization effort to try and get 300,000 troops ready. And to be honest, the only thing I kind of want to say about that is that this will disproportionately affect ethnic minority groups in Russia. I have a friend from the kind of region of Buryatia, which is just above Mongolia, and her city has effectively become an army recruitment centre. They are obviously not recruiting to the same extent in the likes of Moscow and St. Petersburg. They are getting all of the smaller cities and towns and villages across Russia, often with ethnic minority groups, and they are like pushing them to effectively be cannon fodder. So just so anyone, before anyone says that we're not aware of everything that's happening in the world when we now want to talk about a slightly lighter topic, because we're both absolutely exhausted, I thought it was worth that kind of sum up. Is there anything horrible happening in the US, Joy, that we should know about? Probably yes.
Probably. The one that comes to mind for me at the minute is they're trying to basically cause shortages through railway strikes, but it's not the workers that are striking, it's the company owners. So if you have the means to stock up on things, go stock up, because this is going to affect groceries and all sorts of other things. Yeah, it's not none of the railway workers are protesting or striking. It's literally the owners that are trying to
the owners of the railway companies.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The billionaires.
Great. Really useful.
So, yeah.
Cool. So that's a kind of like political roundup. I know that's probably the heaviest part of the episode. But again, we don't want to have an episode where we don't touch on these things and then, we either miss them next time or the situation changes next time. We are aware of them and we obviously want you guys to be aware of it as well. So Joy, Amazon and policies, what's been happening?
Honestly, for the first time since I've been on here talking about Amazon, something really good has happened. Oh, it's a relief to actually say good news and then say Amazon. For those unaware, or if you've not been following me on Tumblr, listening to me rant about it, for a while there has been a TikTok trend which is encouraging people to exploit Amazon's return policies for ebooks, which is you can basically buy a book, read the whole book, enjoy it, and then return it as if it's a library. Obviously, authors have not been very happy about this, and we've been asking people on TikTok to stop doing this because the refund doesn't come from Amazon, it comes from our royalties, which means I've been losing about 60% of my income for the last 3 months since this became a thing. And we asked people to stop, they did not. Some people even doubled down and started targeting people to say, oh, you should go and do this to this author because then they'll lose money, ha ha ha, how funny. And the Authors Guild and the Society of Authors, which is the UK union for authors, they got into talks with Amazon Books, and Amazon has agreed to end the return policy as it currently stands. Because at the minute, the returns were automated, so you could just return at will. Now, if you've read more than 10% of the book, you have to open a ticket with customer services to get your refund. So you can still get refunds if something happens, like if the author just suddenly starts going off the rails into conspiracy theory world or whatever, you can still contact them and get your money back. But it's basically kind of like the Steam return policy at the minute, where in Steam, if you play 2 hours or something, you can't then return it. And it's really, really good that this has been implemented. I've already noticed people, I don't know if it's currently in effect, but I have noticed my returns dipped this week. And I think it may also be people on TikTok are getting frightened because they were also reported for using undeclared affiliate codes to earn money from linking to Amazon Books. So that's fun.
Fuck, of course.
It's just a shit show. It's just every inch of the TikTok discourse on book talk is just a shit show. It's I can't stand it. But it's going to be big.
So what does the new return policy look like? Is it just that kind of barrier that's maybe making it less easier? Is it like, I mean, for example, even if I open a customer ticket with Steam and say, look, I've played more than 2 hours of this game, chances are they're going to be like, no. I'm guessing, so is 10% of the book is read?
Yes, and some people think 10% is not a lot of a book, but for context, 10% can be anywhere between 1 to 3 chapters.
Cool.
Depending on the length of the book. And a lot of the stuff that was getting returned, 10% of it would be about maybe 20 pages or so. And, it's that kind of thing where you're reading it and you think to yourself, well, I'm not really getting into it. It's that kind of phase where you can go, It's more for the genuine returns where you're trying to read something and you're going, I'm going to give it a couple more pages to see if it gets me going and see if it hooks me. And if it doesn't, you can go, right, that's fine, return.
Yeah.
And that's really what the return policy should have been used for. There's obviously going to be instances where the author, if something is formatting goes skew-whiff, because that can happen as well. Sometimes files get corrupted in the uploading, and you flip through things, and you've suddenly got a blank page where you shouldn't. Those will all still be returnable, and those are kind of like if you find an error or something that makes the book unreadable, or again, like I said, if the author suddenly starts hitting out with racist things out of nowhere, you can lodge a valid complaint with Amazon and get a return started for that. Whether they will follow through with that or not, it depends on how Amazon will handle it. I'm guessing they'll probably say yes to things like that. But it's basically just stopping people from reading the full book and then returning it, because that's what a lot of them were doing, because it's easier than going to the library. It's not.
That's no. Especially when there's like things like Libby is like an app.
Libby and Overdrive, yeah.
Yeah, like there's actually stuff like that. I did notice as well that Spotify have announced that they're going to be doing audiobooks. They're going to try and compete with Audible.
Which is interesting. Because
it's kind of like, let them fight. just let them crack on.
Meanwhile, if you're looking for somewhere that doesn't exploit people and pay them very small amounts, you can go to Libro FM, which is the same people that own bookshop.org, who set their company model is basically fuck Amazon. And the guy, the founder, set it up because he hated how Amazon had the monopoly on paperbacks and all sorts of things. And they give really good affiliate payouts to creators, which is fantastic. They give the highest affiliate payout. I think it's something like 10 to 15%. And they also give Bookshop.org and Libro FM, they give parts of their profit, not the author's profit, to independent bookstores. So I really like
That's cool.
Libro FM. I think they're fantastic. Not everywhere. I don't think they're available in every region yet, but they are looking to expand.
No, that's decent.
But yeah, it's been a fun week with people asking tons of questions about things and like, how does this work and how does that work? And I feel like I've been repeating myself a lot, but it's good if people learn more about publishing and how it affects things, because there's so many people that I want to get into publishing and they're just so disheartened by the whole thing. But this is a genuinely really good change, and apparently there's rumours that they're going to end the Audible returns as well, because it was up until fairly recently reuse your credit, because Amazon doesn't care if you're reusing your credit because they get paid anyway. But it looks as if they're actually starting to lose money from things, so it looks as though they may actually change how the credits returns work, which would be fantastic if they did that as well. But it kind of just shows you the power of unions, and I don't think people are aware that there are writers' unions. Like I said, the Society of Authors is the big one in the UK, and then the Authors Guild is the big one in the US. And they do accept indie authors. So it's not just the big names. I know Neil Gaiman was talking about them as well, and it's not just big names that get to use them.
Ian Rankin had also spoken out against the returns policy, or the lack of returns policy.
Yeah.
But no, that's good. I mean,
it was very exploitive.
Yeah.
I broke it down this week because people were asking me, is it really affecting you that much? And I'm like, yes, because I saw a massive increase in sales, which I thought, oh, great, fantastic. And then it was between 50 to 60% of them were returned. And that was coming out of my royalties, which would be fine if, the person, if I was getting charged the same amount that, I was getting. So when people make a thing, say my book is $3.80, or that's how much I get from my $4.99 royalty. It's not the exact number, I forget what it is. If I got $3.80 when it was returned, the money coming out of my royalty would be, $3.92. I'd be losing 12 cents on top of that, which means for every fake sale and refund, I was losing 12 cents from my actual sales. Which meant at one point I had negative royalties for an entire month. And because sometimes you're only earning about $1, or you're earning one of my royalties is actually a penny.
Oh, nice!
Because of how Amazon works,
don't spend it all at once.
I know. So it was one of those things where it was like, like people were saying, well, it's not a sale you wouldn't have had anyway. And I'm going, that's true, but I'm getting charged extra money on top of the return, which means I am losing money from my actual sales, which is not great. It's not great.
No.
So I'm really looking forward to this ending, because you would see it. You'd see a massive, you'd know someone had linked to your book somewhere, because you'd see a massive spike in sales and you'd go, oh, great, fantastic. Someone, it must be part of a book. It must be somewhere, a book group. And within 7 days, you'd get a massive influx of returns, because it takes people roughly a week to read a book sometimes. And it was like,
it must that is absolutely fucking like soul destroying as well, because like obviously there's the excitement of having your book actually sold and people being interested, and then of course you think about the kind of financial thing aspect of that, where you're like, great, I'm gonna have a wee bit more royalties to play with this month, and then you've got it's
money you're relying on to make the next book. And I set aside money each month that I save up for paying illustrators, paying editors, paying formatters. And because that's not something I can, some people can do all these things themselves. I can't. And also, I like to hire from within my community. Everybody that works on Hunger Pangs is from Tumblr. They're from fandom. My illustrator I met through Dishonored fandom. My current editors are, they're big in fandom as well. I like to hire from people within my community. My audio narrator I met on Tumblr, and because of the work that she gets from that, she's able to hire someone else from Tumblr. We're trying to keep the community ecosystem alive, and then you have a hack from TikTok destroying all your income. So you can't, there's money that I would have gotten from some of these sales that I now don't have.
Yeah. And I think I
can't put it aside for future projects.
Yeah. And I mean, there is also there's that aspect as well, as when you can share that with your community. Actually be able to, I don't want to say it's quite circular economy, but it's close to it, where it's, you're actually, you're using that money to inject it in and keeping your community engaged. And of course you need money to live as well.
We're all basically passing the same $200 back and forth between us, but it means that content's getting made. It means that, marginalized stories are getting made. Everybody involved with Fangs is some flavor of LGBT. There is, it's, and also disabled. It's just, it's really disheartening to not be able to put that money back into the community that supports you. And it's the way I try to do, I try to keep the money in my community, because it's my community that supports me. I don't get a lot of money from mainstream sales. My sales come from disabled queer people. And that's also why I keep my book prices as low as possible, because I know my audience is often on restricted income. And it really is, it's galling to me when people turn and say, well, I can't afford $4.99. I'm going, you can save up for a couple of months and you might be able to afford it. Or you go to the library, and the library also pays me. I get 10 cents every time someone borrows a copy of Hunger Pang. You could literally do that instead of taking 12 cents from me every time you do a return. And it's the whole, there was a post, I did a kind of a summary of it this week that's currently, I've had some actual big name authors reblogging it, which is a little bit scary. But it was people saying things like, but I can't afford it. And I'm going, and I can't afford for this to happen either. I can't afford to have, the money being taken out of my account. I sympathize with not being able to afford fun, nice things, because I'm also in a similar situation. I'm able to do things because of my writing, but until very recently, I wasn't, I still live paycheck to paycheck. And I just saw Vithspy. I wish I had the disabled queer community you seem to have. It seems like a wonderful self-supporting group. You are part of my group. If you follow me on Tumblr, you are part of that community. Do not feel as if you are excluded from that. Please come and talk to us. Come talk in the notes on my posts. You are part of it. That's it. As Tundra says, join us. That's it. There's no exclusion. Just come and chat. Just come hang out. Talk to people in the notes. we are a very welcoming space, and I know some disabled communities can be quite exclusionary. I have tried very hard to not have that anywhere near my blog, because there is no one disability that is more valid than the other. And I also don't exclude any sort of, there's some weird exclusionary stuff over mental health issues. I don't hold any of that. So please don't feel as if you don't belong. You are more than welcome to come play in my sandbox, always. But yeah, it's just it's galling to have people say, I can't afford this, therefore I am entitled to your work. And it's if you can't afford it, please use the library, or reach out to me and say, hey, I can't afford this, but I'm more than happy to do a review, because ARCs are a thing. ARC, advanced review copies, are a thing. You can always reach out to people and ask them, hey, if I do a review, can I read your thing? A lot of the time authors will say yes, because we struggle for reviews. I am in the rare case where I don't have to beg people for reviews, because y'all are gremlins, and I had something like 200 reviews like the first week my book went out. That is incredibly rare. There are New York Times bestsellers that have 12 reviews to this day. So thank you to everyone who leaves reviews. But I mean, we are happy to trade copies for reviews a lot of the time, because we do struggle to get reviews. We struggle to get traction. There's better ways than of doing it than stealing from us. And it's even with pirating. I'm not going to say the sites, but if you go to them and you find them, I'm not going to say I advocate for it, but I would prefer it, because at least then you're not actively taking the money from my literal actual paycheck that I rely on. It's quite disheartening to have seen my Amazon be negative royalties for a couple of months, and it's not because I'm not getting sales, it's because people have just been returning it maliciously. And even I've had people apologizing. I've had people drop, they've put money into my Ko-fi going, I did not know, I'm so sorry. And I'm going, that's fine if you didn't know. The problem is that we did tell certain TikTokers, hey, this is harming us. Some of them apologized, some of them immediately some of them immediately went, oh my god, I'm so sorry. They went to their following and said, stop doing this, don't do the thing. Some of them doubled down and said, sucks to be you for using Amazon, and continued to link to it using affiliate codes, which they did not disclose. And if you were unaware of this, in the US, I think also in the UK, it is illegal to not disclose if you are using affiliate links, because you are earning income from those, and you have to tell people when you have an affiliate or an advertisement. So it's that kind of, okay, well, A, you're a dick for doing this, and B, you're a double dick for not declaring to your people that they are giving, their clicks are giving you money. And you were taking the money from the authors just because you didn't like the fact that you got called out for your problematic behavior. I don't like that word. But it's been a wild couple of months, and it's really good to see that Amazon actually did cave to the pressure from the Society of Authors and the Authors Guild. Like, a lot of us did not think that they would, but the media pressure they were getting, and just the pressure from the unions, and the Authors Guild's been part of the it's been a union since I think 1915, so it's not a new thing. It's just that people aren't aware of them anymore. And I think the Authors Guild is $12 a month to be part of it. I am not currently signed up, but I was at one point. And it's been really heartening to see the actual community push back against it. There have been a couple of people in my notes on certain posts that have been going, well, you deserve it for using Amazon. It's like, wow, very society, much participate. You tell me you don't understand how things work. But it's been really lovely to see people actually rejoicing at the fact that this is actually changing, and the fact that Amazon can make change if you put enough pressure on them, which is really just the motivation to keep putting the boot into Amazon's throat, as far as I'm concerned.
As much as possible.
It can work,
Nah, I think it's interesting hearing that they've had to make this change, and to be honest, it's probably because they've got unions that are currently kicking up a fuss, and it's like, well, what would it be like for you if we just ripped the heart and soul out of Amazon Books, and we actively encouraged our memberships to not to not put anything on Amazon. And I do think, like, yeah, definitely on the TikTok side of things, particularly with people being like, you post things on Amazon, sucks to be you. I hate that attitude. I absolutely despise the fact that some people are like, there'll always be people who go, well, it's your own fault because you're using like this platform. Like,
but they're also using the platform.
Well, they're also using the platform, but it's also like just this complete disregard. I mean, Amazon, I think 44% of all online sales on the planet go through Amazon, right? Like, that's a horrifying percentage for a start. But like, that is how gargantuan Amazon's market share is worldwide. It is almost impossible not to interact. Twitch is Amazon, exactly. Twitch is owned by Amazon. That's right, I'm a Jeff Bezos shill. Please like and subscribe.
There's literally, like, people say to me, oh, well, you can use Book Depository. Book Depository is owned by Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, they list all these alternatives, and I'm going, they are owned by Amazon.
And, like,
there's, you know,
it's one of those things as well. Like, there has actually been a similar discussion happening about Twitch recently. So for those of you who maybe don't know, Twitch's revenue share is actually pretty shit. You get 50% of it. So if you think about that when it comes to, you know, subscribing or cheating or anything like that, Amazon are immediately taking 50% of that, which is pretty significant. I mean, I think if like YouTube takes 30% by comparison. So that
if you use Apple to pay for anything on YouTube, though, Apple takes a big chunk.
Apple takes a chunk as well. So, you know, there's that element to it, and it's why I kind of nudge people to like Ko-Fi, for example, because Ko-Fi is actually really good for it. I'm not sure about Patreon. I think Patreon's also quite good. And I think the more you pay on Patreon to be a member of Patreon, you can get better revenue share or something like that. Similar with Ko-Fi.
Patreon's a funny one. Patreon is there's a lot of problems with Patreon. I thought we could do a whole stream on problems with Patreon, to be honest.
But no, I think like it's interesting how there is this kind of conversation happening now, because there comes a point where like Twitch put out a kind of statement and people were rather annoyed at it because Twitch were trying to make themselves out as being this like wee indie startup. They were talking about like one streamer that has average 100 viewers or something like that. If they stream for 200 hours, it was costing Twitch like £1,000 a month, and it's like that's nothing for Daddy Bezos. That's nothing. That is absolutely fuck all.
A fart in the wind.
Exactly. But I thought another thing that you kind of touched on there, and I kind of want to, I kind of want to touch on it a wee bit, maybe in a wider context, but like you were talking about reviews and like how invaluable a lot of reviews can be. And of course, like, you know, people in your community have read Hunger Pangs and went, well, this is great. So, you know, there's like a kind of
been absolutely feral about it. It's been it's been one of those things where when I first started writing it, you know, I had people that were, you know, my editors and everybody else, they've been in the industry for decades. And they were going, you know, you'll probably have to do this, but then you'll eventually have to go into Kindle Unlimited to keep your numbers up. And I've not had to do any of the things that they would tell me to do because Tumblr is bonkers for it. And it's so... I never get to say thank you enough to the people that just support it. I mean, literally, even in the notes just now, there's been, you know, people saying, like, I'll buy you a copy. I'll buy, you know, like, if you can't afford it, I'll buy you a copy.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's just that level of, like, unhinged support that a lot of people don't have. And I'm going, great, fantastic. I don't know what to do with this because all of the advice from the industry no longer applies to what I'm doing.
That's a good thing, though. I mean, like, one thing I would also encourage people to, like, start doing, and, like, I'm not saying everyone needs to do it for absolutely everything, but there's some key things. If you're into games like I am, one of the most supportive things you can do on Steam, for example, is to wishlist games that you would like to buy, right? Particularly games that haven't released yet. And complete transparency, I'm working part-time for a indie game developer at the moment. And it's interesting how much does actually hinge on wishlisting. Wishlisting means so much to indie developers because, like, having a certain, like, there's thresholds of wishlisting. I think if you're under 10,000 wishlists, it can be quite difficult to get any traction on Steam, like on release day. Whereas if you're like up at 20,000, 30,000, up to 50,000 wishlists, like that really, really sets you apart. And it's the criteria that Steam often uses to place games in the featured lists. So if there's a game that you want to support, I really would insist that you all wishlist it, because it will massively benefit and support the developers, particularly as they want to kind of like climb the ladder and talk more about their game. I was going to say go and wishlist the game of the company I'm working for, but I'll save that for now. But like, I'm just saying, like, if you can, in a small way, we all have Steam accounts, and if you play games like me, it's really easy to just start adding things to your wishlist. So like, part of what I'm doing with my curator page as well, I'm now making more of an active effort to wishlist the games that I would like to play. So you should start doing that if possible, because it does help. It helps a lot.
Which is good to know, because I didn't know that the wish list count for things. I knew pre-orders helped for things, but I wasn't sure if wish listing helped as well. So
the interesting thing about pre-orders actually is pre-orders are only available for AAA studios. So an indie developer can't. So indie developers on Steam can't take pre-orders, especially if they're also a new indie studio that's maybe not published a game before at all. So they can't actually, there is no option to toggle on pre-orders, because otherwise they would do that and that would help them fund the game. But I think obviously the criteria there is, like, you don't want people publishing vaporware that maybe hasn't been like verified, and you know, their promotional stuff looks great, which is understandable. But if you're able to, if you're able to do that, then, you know, like, wishlisting is the next level, because obviously if you wishlist, it means that you're going to hear when the game actually gets a full release or goes into early access or anything like that, and of course when it goes on sale as well, which, like, I try not to use my wishlist as a, like, I'll buy it only when it's on sale thing. Like, there's definitely games out there that I want to buy full price to support the devs, but you know, there's some things that I maybe wouldn't buy full price, like Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
I feel like CD Projekt Red.
I'm glad you said that, because in my head I'm going Cyberpunk.
Is anyone told how close your banner is to the buy flag? That is absolutely, totally, 100% not coincidental at all, I don't think. We like the colours.
We do.
And
I'm a very pink person. I don't know if you can tell from a very pink person. Most of my office is pink, so that's the kind of, we went with that. And we obviously Eye's blue. We can't have Eye without blue.
Yeah, exactly. Pixelated Skies, I have actually started watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is the kind of anime series on Netflix, and like, the animation is really, really good. I've not watched it all yet. I've also not seen Arcane, but I do like animation. To be honest, this actually leads into the next conversation. Animation, Joy. You know it's coming. But yeah, I've been enjoying going into animation, and in particular, I downloaded nearly every single bit of Scooby Doo media ever existed, this week.
Which I only found out 10 minutes before the stream started, and went, do you need help? Is there an intervention?
Yeah. Nope.
The stream is now an intervention.
I have every single episode and film of Scooby Doo ever. I'm going to make a YouTube video, and it's just going to be like, this is good. This is also good. This is also good. But no, it's like, it's got all of them, because I was a massive Scooby Doo fan when I was younger. Massive Scooby Doo fan. Like, my great auntie used to film and like record on VHS like all of the episodes, and I would just like, I'd just binge them all. I'm not joking. There was like 4 videotapes, like 3-hour tapes full of Scooby Doo, and I would just watch them all the time. I probably drove my mum and dad fucking nuts. Like, when I was really young, there was like one Thomas the Tank Engine video that we had, and I used to watch it all the time. Used to watch it all the way through, used to rewind it, used to fucking watch it again. I feel like Tundra said, ADHD moment.
Hyperfixation mode for the win.
Just a wee bit.
Just
but
a little bit.
Scooby Doo was fucking fantastic, right? It was amazing.
I love Scooby Doo.
And
I have to say, I loved it as well growing up. So,
and only when I was looking at the entire list of all Scooby Doo media ever created did I realise how fucking old some of the animations are. So like, there was episodes, like I used to really like the straight to video films, like the movies of Scooby Doo. So there was like Scooby Doo meets the Boo Brothers. Then there was like the Witch's Ghost and Zombie Island and the Cyber Chase. Forget Cyberpunk. We were talking Scooby Doo Cyber Chase. But the first series of Scooby Doo was released in 1969. Literally 3 months or so after my dad was born. And at the time, I thought this was really recent. When I was watching Scooby Doo, I was like, holy shit, this must, like, I knew it was older than me, but I thought it was like early 90s.
Yeah.
It turns out it was fucking ancient.
Yeah. I was like, when you started telling me, I'm like, yeah, isn't it like 1977? Because I remember my dad had recordings from then. And then you said 69, and my immediate reaction was nice, followed by, wait, what?
But no, it's fantastic. And like, the amazing thing is that like it's just all there. Like the best Scooby Doo films were like, there was a point where Scooby Doo animation changed massively. And it happened after Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase, which I think was 2001. So I feel like 9/11 had a big thing to play in this somehow. But the Cyber Chase was amazing because like part of it was Scooby Doo, and the monster was a virus that was injected into a video game. But I am not 26. I am 26 in 2 days. I am holding on.
26 in 2 days.
Yeah. And then, oh God, next year I will be 27 on the 27th. That's going to be garbage.
I'll be coming up on 38.
But you don't look it, so that's...
Thanks, it's
that's
a genetic disorder. It keeps me face young. Yeah.
I remember back in like 2015 when people thought I was 40 on Tumblr. I was like, great, thanks.
It's just the dad vibe.
It's
the dad vibe.
It's the dad vibe and the cutting political analysis, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase was amazing on account of, so Scooby Doo and the gang get sucked in to a Scooby Doo video game, right? And in the Scooby Doo video game, they have to face off against all of the monsters that they've fought in the past. Basically Scooby Doo, the live action Scooby Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, basically stole the plot of the Cyber Chase, and had like all of the monsters they'd ever dealt with, like come and like try and get them. But there was this virus, and the virus was the big bad, and the gang had to like play through all the levels. It was great. And I feel like Scooby-Doo's also partly to blame for my love of like animated food. Like, you know how like obviously like the peak, like the absolute like top tier stuff is It's like Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli's food is just like, I am desperate to rewatch Spirited Away because I know I'm just going to make myself hungry. But at the same time, watching like Scooby and Shaggy like pile a sandwich up to being like, fucking 2 meters tall, and then unhinge their jaws to eat it. Like, that was the good shit. So I'm very much looking forward to I watched like one episode and I was like, I am back. Because there's a really good episode that's like the second one where it's it's weird because it sticks in my mind. No one's gonna get this, but it's like the ghost of Captain Cutler, and it's like an old timey like diving suit that glows. Like that's the monster, that. And like they have to go under the sea and they find like a shipwreck and stuff like that. And it's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And like all of the monsters, it's gonna be really funny rewatching these actually, because like the animation is old, but like old in that kind of like.
I think it ages well though.
Oh, it does. Like I think
it holds up.
I love the animated style in it because it does the.
Speaking of things that age well.
Why have you given me cat treats?
I'm trying to sit on you.
You're tired. Fuck's sake.
Light your candle.
Okay, candle done. Jesus Christ. Thank you very much. The cat boy eye.
Come on.
I'm getting cats thrown at me. They're about to scratch the shit.
We had to set this up. Jessica and I were planning this
Fuck's sake, you couple of arseholes. Ah!
And I like how you walked into the ages well pun for me. Thank you so much for that one.
Fuck's sake.
Happy early birthday.
Right. Thank you for this. Oh, I look trendy as fuck. I'm just not going to be able to hear you, Joy, for the rest of the episode there.
That's fine.
Yeah, we could try and put it over my earphones. Go on. There we go. It's a pointy fucking birthday hat. Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Thank you. That's great. No one can see it. I'm going to have to duck. There you go. Fuck's sake.
I made Mothman go to the store this morning and get this for me.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to be able to wear this for the full thing.
We didn't think you would. We just thought it'd be funny and we'd surprise you.
Now I, as the unicorn we all knew you could be. Fuck's sake. What were we talking about? We're talking about Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo and aging well.
Scooby-Doo and aging well. Yeah, one of the favourite things about the animation style, because it was all done by a Japanese studio up until the end of the Cyber Chase.
Which I didn't know. Yeah,
and then it went into like an American studio and they started doing all sorts of weird shit. If you don't want to be read as old eye, just shave off the beard. That is not happening. That is not happening. If I shave off this beard, it's not gonna. No, it wouldn't be good. But the cool thing about the animation of like the older ones is that like you can tell what is painted on in the background and what objects are going to be interacted with. And it's like, it was always so obvious to tell if there was like a secret book on a bookshelf that they would pull, because it was like one incredibly detailed book and the rest just like background. It was incredible. I'm looking forward to going through and playing them all. Or like, just watching them all. Because there was also a really good Scooby-Doo game. It was like Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. And I remember that was pretty intense. Like one of the first things you did after you escape the haunted mansion is you go up on this hill and you get like an American football helmet, and that would allow you to ram into enemies. That was like the main mode of attack. This is now a Scooby-Doo stream, by the way. You're basically you're gonna
having a hyperfixation.
hear about me and my hyperfixation for the next thing. Was you downloading all the Scooby-Doo the reason you posted that thing about the Hex Girls on Tumblr? Maybe.
You don't need a reason to post about the Hex Girls though.
It was Delicious Pirate God very kindly sent me like a Blu-ray version of Remember Blu-ray? Blu-ray was like what people used to call 4K. It was the 4K of its time. But it was, it sent me through The Witch's Ghost. And The Witch's Ghost is a good one because it's got the Hex Girls in it. And the Hex Girls are fantastic. They very much awakened my love of goths. And vampires to an extent. But it's all the Hex Girls' fault.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
My story as well.
I didn't know
Lost
that.
Girls and vampires, as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry, thank you, Judge Magister, for gifting a sub to the Hex Girls. I don't. So the amazing thing about the Hex Girls, right, is that for those of you who've played Mass Effect or Knights of the Old Republic, Jennifer Hale voices the main Hex Girl.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And I'm consuming wine at the moment. I suppose I could like reverse Jesus it and turn it back into water for you.
Reverse Jesus.
Reverse Jesus. But no, the like The Witch's Ghost is a really good one. But for me, the Zombie Island one always stands out. Zombie Island's great because it's like Louisiana, and like they've got.
Did you give them shimmies?
I didn't give them dreamies. No, you can give them dreamies. But you can do so that like Louisiana, they've got like Louisiana Gumbo plays a massive feature in Scooby Doo and the Zombie Island. Also, Scooby Doo and the Zombie Island is one of the only Scooby Doo like movies of that time that actually had a real monster. Which were the zombies. Like the zombies were real, as were the kind of weird werewolfy vampire. It was like a cross, weren't they? They weren't.
Yeah. They were hybrids.
Yeah, they were hybrids. I'm not sure if they were vampires, but they were they were like werecats. Because the boat, spoilers for any of you who haven't seen the Zombie Island. Like there was the boat guy was a werecat, and then they were all werecats, weren't they?
I thought they were, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Isn't much.
Yeah, so because there was the two women who owned the plantation, and then there was the boat guy. I was actually thinking, I was like, when I downloaded it, I saw it was like 1969. I was like, how racist are some of these episodes going to be? This is going to be a nightmare, because I did see there's one where the gang goes to Hawaii, and I was like, this is going to be very bad. There's also one where they go to Scotland.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, there's an episode where they go to Scotland. I'm gonna see if I can find it. So like there was a movie about the Loch Ness Monster, but there was also another one. Like there was actually like an episode. I'm gonna see if I can find it. So Scooby Doo and the Loch Ness Monster was there, but it was also in. Some of these are absolutely howling. Yes. So season 3 of the Scooby Doo show, the gang helps Velma's friend Aggie McDuff, whose ancestral castle home was being haunted by the ghost of her great-grandfather Finian McDuff, who in turn has also summoned the Loch Ness Monster.
So there's a good bit of anti-Catholicism in there as well.
Yep.
That's for people who don't know. Finion's not a nice word in the UK.
Yep. And then, of course, there was also the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo second series, season 1. While bicycling through the Scottish countryside, the guys end up at a castle that they mistake for their hotel and encounter a very angry Black Knight who they believe is the hotel's manager. While visiting the Glassborough Castle, Glasgow and Edinburgh, they've just fused that, haven't they?
They have.
But when visiting the Glassborough Castle, the gang encounters the Glassborough Dragon, And then Scooby Doo and the Loch Ness Monster is while the gang was visiting Daphne Blake's cousin Shannon, they have to investigate the case of the Loch Ness Monster. This is going to be a watch party in the Discord, isn't it?
It is. Nothing wrong with that.
We're gonna have to do it. Also, this party hat is strangling me, so
You can take it off. I took my thing off because it was squeezing my ears too much.
Yeah, it was choking the life out of me there. But yeah, there's the teams. So like there's tons of weirdly Scottish themed stuff in Scooby Doo. I feel like one of the animators must have had a connection and
maybe
wanted to pay homage. Fucking Finian McDuff. Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, it's a valid term in other places, but in Scotland it is specifically a slur for people who are unaware. It's a religious slur. And it's
not spelled the same way.
Yeah. But the way they would be saying it in a Scottish accent would not come across as good, especially in the 60s and 70s. Or the 80s or 90s, to be honest.
Sorry, I've just found a photo of the animation, and it is yeah. Who would have known this?
You can always share
yeah.
it.
It's no. We'll save it for a time in the Discord. But yeah, this Finian McDuff. His clothing resembles a Scottish bagpipe player. He sported ginger hair, a mustache, and a beard. His skin was also glowing pale blue.
Fantastic.
Yeah, pretty incredible. And then. Oh yeah! So another person that they meet in Scotland is Jamie Craigmore. Just all of the names. But yeah, that was that's Scooby Doo in Scotland. I honestly I can't wait to watch them all. Like it's gonna be class. Like
we're gonna come back to you whatever the next stream is, and you're just gonna have dark circles under your eyes. Still going.
It was like downloading it all. It was 358 gigabytes of Scooby Doo content, which is just the best thing in the fucking world, really.
I had the reason no one in Falkirk had high-speed internet.
Yeah, I drained it. Yeah, I know. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But then, like, the thing is I remember seeing glimpses of like other Scooby Doo like series, because there was obviously the kind of like classic ones, and then they tried to modernize it, and there was one where they wanted to like downplay all of the. Like they wanted to like de-age them, so they made them all kids again, which was really weird because they still went to school, but they also all had parents, which was really, really fucking weird.
I watched those, and was this the one with H.P. Lovecraft?
Maybe, I don't know.
There was one where it was a Lovecraft thing, and they all got de-aged and had to go back to college, and they all had parents and everything else. And it was the one I remember was that Shaggy, whose real name is Norbert, by the way, was being sent off to military school for being a fan of Mary Jane too much.
No, this one was bad on account of like. I think they were trying to do a kind of formation of Mystery Inc. So like they were trying to like instead of going from like, you know, episode to episode, like a Monster of the Week type thing, they were trying to do like a series of like how the gang came to be, and they had like a big overarching mystery.
Everyone's yelling at me in the chat. That's Mystery Inc. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was like Daphne. They made Daphne like a massive flirt in it. Like Daphne was absolutely like bursting for her hole from Fred, and they made Fred like they made Fred himbo. They made Fred a himbo that like all he cared about was traps. Like, he was so excited about just traps. Like, he was always designing traps, and whenever she was like...
the physical, mechanical...
Yeah, like...
Anything else?
No, not else. It was like specifically... No, not the slur. It was like... He absolutely loved, like, designing his own traps and shit like that. And whenever she wanted to, like, come over and do homework and everything, he was like, sorry, gotta make a trap. Amazing. Daphne was the top. Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's always been the top. Let's be real. But yeah, Velma was in the closet as well for Mystery Inc. If I remember.
Was she?
I think so.
Okay.
It was. I think.
They made her and Shaggy a thing. Actually, sorry, that's the other thing of that show. So they coupled up, or they tried to couple up Daphne and Fred, but they did couple up Shaggy and Velma, which I thought was blasphemous. Sorry, I have a cat that's trying to steal Jimmy's, because I'm sorry, you're not allowed any. Banned. You've had more than enough. He's not happy. But yeah, it was very, very much the line that they took was that Shaggy and Velma be fucking.
Yes. Which was, whatever. It's someone's fanfic. Good for them for getting paid for it.
Yeah. It's just plenty. I've forgotten what the fucking rule is. Was it rule 34? Rule 40?
Rule 34 is there's porn, isn't there?
Yeah,
if
I think
something exists, there's porn of it.
Yeah. There's plenty of Scooby Doo stuff out there. Fill your boots, chat.
If that's what you're into.
If that's your thing.
Judgment or shame here.
A little bit of judgment.
Mostly from you downloading the entirety of Scooby Doo in a day.
Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. But no, it's fantastic. I really can't wait to watch all of them. And for anyone who loves Scooby Doo, you should appreciate. Sorry, I'm dealing with a cat being a little menace. Decided now is a good time to jump on my desk and knock everything off.
He just wants attention. Yeah, Velma's girlfriend was called Hot Dog Water, which I thought was weird. And Mystery Inc., yeah.
What?
The girlfriend her nickname was Hot Dog Water because she smelled like hot dog water, apparently. And then if I also remember, Hot Dog Water ended up her dad was the villain? Or she ended up betraying them or something? I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird thing.
Holy shit, I've definitely not seen any of this.
Does she die as well?
Mothman
would know more because he's a big Scooby Doo fan, so that's...
Oh, right, okay. I feel like I know more about classic Scooby Doo than I do about... when did she first make an appearance?
She's only in Mystery Inc. She's only in...
She was in the first 6... She joined in the 16th episode of the first season of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, which was first aired in 2010. So yeah, that was past my time.
Right before Mothman and I got married. To anyone new who's not aware, the chat nickname for my husband is Mothman. So that's him in the comments with ETD Mothman. So
I didn't know that Matthew Lillard actually did the voice of Shaggy for Mystery Inc.
I didn't know that either.
Hot Dog Water should date Gamer Girl Bath for. Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of Scooby Doo video games. In fact, there was tons of Scooby Doo PC games that you could play in your browser.
I remember some of those
way back, and you had to explore a haunted garden and stuff. It was like a maze. It was amazing. No, it was really good fun. Sorry, I felt like we've maybe dwelled a bit long on Scooby Doo.
We have.
It's very much
indulged your fixation a little bit too much.
You rip it away from me. Go on, do something else. We were going to talk about our favourite sweets. That was one of the things that we had in mind.
Yes.
And this is something that chat can definitely get involved in because we always want to hear what you guys. So there's 4 categories here of sweets, right? Bearing in mind these are sweets. These aren't pastries. They aren't cakes. They aren't biscuits, right? They're sweets and chocolate.
Candy to the Americans.
Candy, if you will.
Candy and chocolate.
So the first one is favourite hard-boiled sweets. And I'll tell you the other categories as well, but we'll do them step by step. But the next one's gummy sweets, right? Then you've got lower quality chocolate, and then you've got high quality chocolate. When I say low quality chocolate, I mean the sort of thing that you'd pick up at a counter on the way out of like a shop. I'm not talking about like a box of After Eights. A box of if you some people might maybe purchase a box of After Eights to eat by themselves. But I'm talking about so a box of After Eights is maybe something you'd get like at Christmas, right? Like a kind of like a family sharing thing. So those are the 4 categories. So hard-boiled sweets, Joy, what's your favourite?
I'm going to get really specific. Mine was Simpkins growing up, and it was the hard-boiled sweets that were kept in these travel tins, and then they were covered in powdered sugar inside to keep them from sticking together. And I loved the orange and the lemon ones. They were my favourite thing growing up as a kid. I've actually got some cherry flavoured ones in my pantry at the minute that I can't have, unfortunately. But those were what I ate. They were like the anti-travel sickness sweets in our car as a kid growing up. But they're also just good.
Nice. No, that's fair. Mine's, I'd say, is probably sour plums.
Those are good too.
However, I do have a soft spot for those like what Foxy's Glacier hard boileds. They're lovely as well. So yeah, they're probably mine.
The mint ones are actually only just throwing this out there. The Fox's mint glaciers are one of the only friendly MCAS friendly sweets because they don't have any dye in them. So that's if anyone that is like me and you have a million allergies, you may be able to have Fox Glacier mints, which are a good British staple, as far as I'm concerned. I think they're Irish, actually.
Not bad.
I think Fox's is Irish, but yeah.
Fair enough. I'm wondering, so, right, gummy sweets then.
Wine gums for me.
Wine gums, really?
I love wine gums.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I know anyone. So for anyone in chat who's saying things like Haribo's, I'm afraid you're gonna have to be more specific. You're not allowed to say Haribo's because Haribo comes in a mixed bag. You need to get down to the Haribo that you like. For example, the Haribo that I like are the wee kind of like jelly men, not the jelly babies. Like jelly babies are fine, but like the wee jelly men, the one that have their arms like strapped in. I like those. I also like Mawams. Mawams are fucking top tier. Like, see the raspberry Mawams that come in a wrapper? They were the good stuff.
Does Starburst count as jelly sweets?
Yeah, gummy sweets, yeah. Starburst. I'm not a massive Starburst fan. But that's because
I used to prefer fruit pastels. I liked fruit pastels. I like stuff that's got crystallized sugar in it.
Yeah, so I would take a fruit pastel over a wine gum, I think.
I think for me, it's Haribo. For me, was always too soft. I used to open up my Haribo and let them go slightly stale so I could get a better chew out of them. Whereas with wine gum, I actually feel like I get to have a bit of a chew with it. So
where do bonbons fit?
Depends on what type of bonbons. I think bonbon would probably go under chocolates, to be honest. Because you get chocolate bonbons.
You do. I would say they're probably more on the gummy side, though, for like the strawberry bonbons. And they're not gummy as such, but
they're soft.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think so. It was. I mean, I don't mind Haribo in general, but like, I quite like the milk bottles you get from Haribo as well. They're quite nice.
I like their Coca-Cola bottles. To be honest,
Coca-Cola bottles are good.
There used to be a sweet store in Glasgow that I loved, and they made a lot of their own stuff, and to me a lot of their gummy stuff was the best, and you can't really get them anymore. One of the gummy things I loved was the Iron Brew bars.
Oh,
loved Iron Brew bars.
Gone but not forgotten.
No. I would freeze them and break them up, and then you could put them over ice cream and stuff as a wee crunch, or you could just melt it and whatever. But we used to eat the Iron Brew ones constantly.
Yeah.
That was our. We used to go to our corner shop, and all you get was the Iron Brew bars.
Nah, that's fair. Right. So, okay, lower quality chocolate. Lower quality might be the wrong term for it.
Cheap.
But, aye, cheaper chocolate. What's your kind of all-time favourite, like, cheaper chocolate?
Mine's was Kit Kat, but specifically Kit Kat Chunky.
Ah, yeah.
I don't like regular Kit Kat, but I like Kit Kat Chunky. That was my favourite until I couldn't have the wheat that was in a lot of those things. But that was if I was having to pick something up at the register, or if I was going out the door, I'd pick a Kit Kat Chunky. That would be
right. That's fair. I actually take issue with people who eat the normal Kit Kats, and like there's wrong ways to eat a Kit Kat, right? And one of those ways are the people who nibble the chocolate around the Kit Kat and then eat the wafer. I think those people need jailed. Yeah. Where do galaxies count? Galaxies would probably count in this aspect. I'm not sure if Terry's chocolate orange counts as slightly higher end chocolate or not. In my mind,
it's not, because it's
In my mind, it is. It was a thing that only got at Christmas, but maybe that's me just being poor.
That's just us being Scottish.
Yeah. But no, like I think I used to like Yorkie. I'm not a massive fan of Yorkie now. Same with Double Decker. Absolutely loved the whole thing. I used to love
Double Decker.
Double Deckers were great for a long time, and then they were like, I've always hated Aero. Cannot stand Aero. Aero is the garbage bin of chocolate. It's just
I like
shit.
the mint Aero.
Oh,
I don't like regular Aero, but
no,
I like mint Aero.
Nut boke. The absolute nut. Couldn't deal with it. Poppets I used to like. Poppets were fun.
Oh, I love Munchies as well with the cat.
Munchies were good too. I loved when Munchies ended up doing a collaboration with After Eights, and they made the best, like, they made Munchie After Eights.
I did not know about that.
Oh man, I think they discontinued them as well. I feel like chocolate in the UK has gotten very, very boring since Brexit. And you know what? Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead slightly. So one of my favourite kind of higher end chocolates is Toblerone, right? Toblerone is absolutely exceptional. Well, it used to be, because originally Toblerone was like designed like mountain peaks, so you got like a nice wee triangle, and it was great. But since Brexit, the gap between the mountains has grown. So you've actually got little tiny peaks now, and you've just got this giant valley in between each one, because they want to use less chocolate. Poppets. So Poppets are spelled like this, and there was mint Poppets, and there was toffee Poppets, and there was
coffee as well.
There was coffee Poppets as well. And I felt like Revels kind of overtook them a bit. Like, because Revels are good.
The big thing.
Well, actually, Poppets are now back, and they now have styled the Poppets like Revels. I don't know. They've managed to out-revel Revels, which is pretty good. And
do you still get Milka chocolate in the UK?
The purple, the light purple stuff. I've not seen it in ages actually, but yeah.
I preferred that over Cadbury's in the end. I preferred Milka over Cadbury's at one point. It was so much creamier.
Aye. It was the same with what's the other type of chocolate? There's a chocolate that they tend to sell at like Lidl and Aldi. And they always did like really good, like it was always chocolate and something. One of them does like a kind of chocolate and cornflakes thing is amazing. And chat's mentioned there, Tony's Chocolate Only. If you've ever had that, it is phenomenal.
It's such a they pay actual good wages, which
yeah.
When I could still eat chocolate, I would eat Tony's because it was one of those things where you're going, oh, it's because chocolate's one of those real things where slavery still exists, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of,
as Rowan mentions in chat, it's Ritter Sport. It's Ritter that does the Aldi Lidl thing I was talking about, which is cool. But yeah, like Tony's Chocolate Only is amazing. Recently discovered Tony Chocolate Only does a white raspberry popping candy one.
I love popping candy.
Popping candy is fucking amazing, and see-through chocolate is fantastic. There used to be a thing at Christmas where you could. It was like a knockoff of Freddo, but it was little elves, and each elf had like a different flavor of popping candy in it, and it was like a chocolate elf that had different flavors of popping candy in it. Phenomenal. I miss when people were braver with chocolate. I feel like that's just not a thing anymore. Like remember when like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came out, and like fucking chocolate places were doing like what was it, Fudge Mallow Whipple Scrumptious Fudge Mallow Delights?
Those were fantastic.
And they were great. And as much as we don't like to say it, when Harry Potter came out, and people jumped on the chocolate frog thing. They did chocolate frogs and they did the jelly beans, and it was actually in like cool packaging for the film. Why did that not just become a normal fucking thing? I feel like it is
because it costs money.
Yeah,
that's basically it. But it was they made they really brought back jelly beans in a big way. Yeah, sorry, I'm saying Milky Way Kid. Yeah, you're correct.
Milky Bar Kid.
Milky Bar Kid. Yeah. It's interesting to me because white chocolate's one of the only things I can still have. I can't have regular chocolate. It's due to how they're made, but technically white chocolate's not chocolate because it's not made from the same thing, but it's, whatever. But I can have white chocolate, but I can't have regular chocolate. So I'm big on white chocolate at the minute. That's and some people go, ooh, white chocolate. I've always liked it. Even when I was a kid, I would eat the Milky Bar Kid stuff.
It's a little too sweet for me, as in I feel like I can eat less white chocolate and I'll feel as sick as if I eat a lot of normal chocolate.
They add more sugar. They add
a lot more sugar to it.
Yeah.
But it's still nice. There used to be like when I was in first year at uni, I was shopping at like Lidl all the time, and there used to be like knockoff Twixies that you could get that were actually really good. I don't mind Twixies actually. Twixies are not too bad.
Twixies were good because you could bite off the end and dunk it in your tea and suck the tea up through, and you get a mouthful of warm caramel. I also used to do that with if we're gonna go with like absolute favourites, you cannot beat Tunnocks for me for like the caramel wafers. I would take the Tunnocks over that. Also the Tunnocks tea cakes is I would probably shank someone for a Tunnocks tea cake at the minute. It was weird to me because I went to Disneyland a couple of years ago and they were selling Tunnocks in the British section. And I'm like, I don't think there's many English people know what Tunnocks is.
Yeah, nah.
But it was, you could buy caramel they were selling something like a pack of 6 caramel wafers for like $10, and I'm like,
oh my god,
it's a pound back home.
Still haven't forgiven Tunnocks from being a big no voter though.
Yeah,
it was devastating.
My dad's friend's mum worked in Tunnocks, and they were always really good about giving people stuff to take home. So that was like nothing ever got chucked in the bin. And they still do it today. They still give you the food. They don't put anything to waste if it's whatever. They give it to the staff, which I prefer people to do over than.
It's just like becoming the designated, you're hosting the coffee mornings for the rest of your life, basically.
That was pretty much what it was, yeah. It was, you've got a constant supply of tea cakes. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't aware what a tea cake is, it's like a digestive biscuit almost with a soft marshmallow encased in chocolate.
Yeah, it's
So
fucking
you had a hard
class.
shell of chocolate, you bit into it, and you got a soft marshmallow, and then a cookie at the bottom. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
It was, yeah, it's good. It's the good stuff. So a higher end chocolate then. What are we like? I'm gonna okay. My class is going to show here. I'm gonna count Teddy's chocolate orange as higher class. I don't give a fuck. And
Well,
I
it's
also
special chocolate because a lot of us didn't get
Yeah,
it until it was Christmas time.
special chocolate.
Yeah.
I would also say like Toblerones would also sit up there because the quality of a Toblerone was up there. Plus, Toblerones come in big fucking slab things now. They come in like you can't buy a small Toblerone. You've got to buy the big boy. So yeah, I'm saying like kind of group in there. What's your go-to expensive chocolate? I see After Eights in chat then already.
After Eight was my favorite as a kid, but now it would probably be there's obviously Lindt. Is that how you say it? Lindt chocolate?
Lindt.
The Easter bunnies. Lindt. Yeah.
Is
Lindt.
Is it Lindt? Yeah.
I don't know.
LINDT, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I like their Easter stuff. I used to really like those ones and their chocolate stuff.
They do reindeer now as well.
Do they?
Yeah, so they
I like their truffles. I like the truffles that have got the hard shell and the soft inside. I could eat those for days. I used to eat the white chocolate ones constantly, but then they started adding soy lectin into it, which I can't have, unfortunately. And that's the problem with a lot of these things. I can't have the actual cocoa bean, and I also can't have soy lectin. And soy lectin's in everything. It's in Cadbury's. It's in all these things. So a lot of my chocolates are really expensive, but it's because I'm avoiding the soy and like all the other stuff. And I'm like, me, that that's just it's all my chocolate is super expensive chocolate these days. But the green and blacks was a favorite when I was growing up.
Yeah,
I got a prescription from my doctor for green and blacks dark chocolate when I was wee because I was always anemic. And they were trying to find any way to get iron into me, and black chocolate has some iron in it. So that was a thing when I was wee. I was only allowed to eat dark chocolate for a long time.
That's interesting. The prescription for black and green chocolate.
It was our wee old doctor. His name was Dr. Lovett, I think, and he was very much about how do we get kids to be like, he was very much involved in like nutrition and stuff, and he was very kind of ahead of his time. And he said, well, I'm going to write a wee prescription here for your mum to say that you should have whatever. And it was literally a prescription for green and black 70% dark chocolate. And I ate almost exclusively dark chocolate from the age of 5 till about 12.
Dark chocolate is really nice. Like, I really like dark chocolate. Yeah, not everyone likes it, but I like it. So I saw Ferrero Rocher. That was they're a good standout. I really like there's this thing that you can get you can get across the UK. I'm not sure if you can get it in the US, but it's like you can get like praline like seashells.
Oh yeah.
Like my mum was telling me earlier that she hates them, but I was like, nah, they're my go-to. My mum was a big fan of Lindor, like the Lindor wee balls. Lindor balls. They were like, I don't know, they were like softer chocolate inside a harder chocolate shell. I don't know if they were like, I don't know if they count as a truffle. I don't think they count as a truffle. Yeah, it's Gillian seashells. That's it.
There was the what was this? I used to get them in John Lewis, and it was the Hotel range of chocolates.
Oh, Hotel Chocolat.
Yeah, Hotel Chocolat. Because I used to get the strawberry ones, the strawberry chocolate ones. We actually had them for our wedding, and it was the strawberry chocolate ones dusted in powder. We had those as well, which was everyone thought they were class, and I'm going, yeah, it's John Lewis. But also Glasgow Kimball's chocolate used to be fantastic, but unfortunately the quarantine and COVID shut them down. Shite. We did all of our wedding favours through Kimball's chocolate from Glasgow, and they'd been in St Enoch Centre for generations. But they did some really, really good chocolates when I was wee, and those were kind of like my luxury thing as a kid as well. We'd go in there and we'd get candied orange peel in dark chocolate would be like a wee treat if you were going to St Enoch Centre with your mum. So
that's not bad.
And that was my mum's treat as well. She used to get it from Kimball's as well. So
That's nice. The I'm trying to think. Sorry, I forgot from a low quality or a cheaper chocolate perspective, we missed out minstrels. Minstrels
I
are
used to love minstrels
excellent.
as well.
And mini eggs. Mini eggs are fantastic. I don't know what they do. I don't know how they make the mini
Hard
egg shell, but like I don't know why, but each shell has its own flavor. I'm getting really, really into my mini eggs, but it's incredible. There's good stuff, good engineering prowess goes into the designing of a mini egg.
I used to wait every Easter for the cream eggs.
Oh.
That was cream egg. I loved a cream egg. I've never enjoyed a deep fried Mars bar. I had a deep fried cream egg once, and I think I may have seen God.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say that's because of the heart disease.
We used to it was my friend and I, we used to, when we worked in retail, one of the bosses never listened to us, and she used to store the the cream eggs behind the coffee machine where the vent was. So all these cream eggs would go all soft and gooey, and then she couldn't sell them. So she'd basically, and she never learned because we teach her every week, don't put these here. And she'd do it every time, and we'd move them, and then she'd move them back. And it was a whole thing. And then at the end of the day, she was like, oh no, these must be faulty. You lassies can have them. So we literally used to just eat on our breaks. We'd just be eating these like half melted cream eggs. And it felt like the most primal, like you're shoving like a melted hot egg into your mouth sensation. It was great. We loved it, but it was also just my boss being not listening to us and going, you can't store melted things behind a hot thing.
That's good. And someone's of course mentioned Kinder eggs. Kinder eggs not as much. Kinder Buenos, however, sign me the fuck up. Good. Kinder Bueno are great. I don't know why, but there's something about each bit of a Kinder Bueno being individually wrapped. Terrible for the environment, but presentation wise, I can't really fault them. And like each segment you could snap off, which is also pretty cool. I'm trying to think from like a kind of more expensive chocolate. I'm thinking mine would like Teddy's chocolate orange is like it is orange chocolate. That is what it is. And can I just say a big part of having orange chocolate is it being in the shape of an orange.
It is. That's part of the enjoyment. It's breaking it apart, peeling it apart. Like the same. Like I mean, if you put all of the After Eight individual slices of After Eight into a bar, it would be the most depressing thing you'd ever eat in your life. I mean, that was a thing at one point.
Was it?
Yeah, you might be too young to remember it, but I remember there being bars. There's also a Scottish brand that did their own cream mint chocolate bars, and those were really good, but you could only get them in ice cream shops for some reason.
Oh. That's weird. They're selling bars of After Eights in the US next. See, like, it is a lot. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't respond as like positively to like cream eggs now, because I think there was probably a point in time where I ate a whole thing of cream eggs to myself and probably put myself into a sickly coma. Similarly with similarly with After Eights. So it was After Eights that I definitely ate way too much of them, and then there's also cream eggs. Those are the two. Those are the two that I've like. I still don't mind them, but I know that if I eat like 3 or 4 of them, I'm fucked and I'm gonna feel unwell because it'll trigger the memory of when I eat like a full box of After Eights to myself. There's a
I like the caramel eggs. I'm a caramel bitch. I love caramel for things, and I'm lucky that I can actually make caramel using maple syrup. So I'm still able to have caramel, because it's one of those weird things where it's like I can't have cane sugar, but I can have maple sugar. Don't ask me why.
Sorry, I just want to point out. I just want to point out Drama Llama Panorama's comment in chat. As long as you don't put the wrappers of the After Eights back in the box, you're all right.
I hated people that did
the worst bastards that did that.
You'd be like, oh great, it's still full, and it'd just be empty. My dad did that constantly, and he always did it on Christmas as well. Because we always got after eights at Christmas and New Year's, and you go to open the box up thinking it was a full box, and you just find your dad had scarfed the whole thing. It was just empty envelope.
You might as well have just written "fuck you" on the box lid.
Exactly.
Nah, I think like I'd say I don't really know what other. I think Jessica's a big fan of like Thornton's, but like Thornton's used to do this like kind of toffee almond thing. She's convinced it was almonds. I thought it would have been something like hazelnut or walnut, but apparently it was almond. But
I
like
used to like Thornton's truffles. Thornton's did really good truffles.
Aye, I like. Oh, it's Brazil nut. Okay, so that's immediately like, yeah, that's like top tier. Brazil nuts are class. So, yeah, chocolate. Because chocolate Brazil nuts were also a thing, weren't they?
They were. Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I don't know why, but like excessively talking about chocolate has also kind of triggered that reaction of like, oh my god, like
the bulk feeling.
Like it's just like I felt like I've overeaten on like chocolate when there's
nothing to do with the cake sitting in front of you.
Yeah. It is in front of me. So just to give you an idea about the sheer size of this cake for a start, right? But also this is cake that Jessica specifically ordered, and it is a pumpkin spice flavored. That's right. I'm a basic bitch. I love my pumpkin spice, and this is an autumnal pumpkin spiced cake that Jessica got made for me, which is very, very kind of her. I am basic bitch for Scott. I don't give a fuck. I have queued for 30 minutes for pumpkin spice before. I've done it all.
You like what you like. That's
I do. It's my one little bit of like, yeah, I'm basic. Hey, Schnappy Films, welcome to the stream. I should not say welcome to the stream. I should say welcome to the podcast.
You can get chowers. I loved violet mints when I was growing up. I loved Parma violets. Parma violets are fantastic.
Jessica's a massive fan of Parma violets. Like I think I can't remember whether it was for her birthday or her Christmas one year, but I got her like a big tub of Amazon, and it's like it was just filled to the brim with Parma violets.
We went to a wedding, and the bride was a big cocktail person, and they had themed cocktails, for whatever, and we were not official bridesmaids, but we were kind of roped in at the last minute, and we were wearing a kind of violet dress. So the bartender made a cream Parma violet cocktail for us, and it was the most lethal thing you could give to someone because it did not taste like alcohol. It just tasted like liquidized Parma violet with like an ice cream base. And my friend and I drank about 5 of them, and I don't remember the rest of the night. And it was just so dangerous because it was literally just the best tasting cocktail I've ever had in my life because you could not taste any alcohol. But it just tasted like Parma violets. Someone had liquidized Parma violet, and I'm a bitch for Parma violets. So that was the kind of... It was lethal. We woke up the next day, and we were still wearing our dresses, and we're just kind of laying there in this double bed, just like, what happened? The answer was Parma violet cocktails.
I can't imagine like Parma violet cocktail. I feel like it would be too sweet for me. It wouldn't be like a juice. Like I've had cocktails that have been like a juice, and you've been able to like neck them, and then you realise you're like shit-faced at 10:30.
It was worse too because it was a cream cocktail.
Oh fuck! Oh,
so it was
God.
one of those ones that it's almost like you're just drinking ice. It's like a milkshake, but it's alcohol. So you're getting hit by the lactose and the alcohol. I was ill for about 3 days after that, but I still don't regret it because it was such a good experience. But I think after the first one, we were so drunk we didn't taste that it was too sweet after that one. But there's a fabulous picture of me and the other bridesmaid, and we're just holding these massive, huge, like ice cream sundae, Knickerbocker Glory style glasses with these Parma violet
cocktails.
It was lethal. My liver never recovered from that, I don't think. But it was that was an experience, and I still to this like day I will still eat Parma violets if I can find the allergen friendly ones. But yeah, absolutely. I had a perfume that was Parma violet. That's how much.
Damn, you went all out.
Yeah. So if anyone ever talks shit about pumpkin spice, don't care. I'm a Parma violet bitch. That's wherever you love. That's
No, that's very fair. But like, it's funny. I think it's the only time that I quite like going into coffee shops and going, "Can I get a pumpkin spice latte?" It's like I don't normally go and like I don't normally go into Starbucks and go, "Can I have a latte, please?" No, it's pumpkin spice or bust.
You can buy the syrup over here. I don't know if you can get it in the UK, but you can make your own the pumpkin spice lattes over here. But there's you can also get pumpkin spice tea now as well, which I just like to sniff the box. There's too many things in it that I can have. I like to sniff the box, so that's
just inhale the box.
It smells good.
No, I'm not.
You can drink.
No judging here. Sometimes it is just good. I long for having. I don't think they would be able to ever do it because it is like the pumpkin spice comes from like the syrup and it also comes from the dusting that they put on top. But like I would love it if they were able to get the pumpkin spice into like an espresso pod or something like that. That would be my like goal. My one goal in life is to get pumpkin spice into an espresso pod because it'd be amazing. But I remember I used to have a custom order for Starbucks because I used to order my Starbucks on the app because there was a Starbucks beside Edinburgh Uni and I used to go from the library over to Starbucks to pick up my order and then come back. And it was I got like four pumps of pumpkin spice syrup and then I got like the extra pumpkin spice on top. That's right, 4 pumps, you heard me. And it was just fuck my life up with pumpkin spice.
Just completely high off the sugar from the syrup.
Oh yeah, I was like if I was doing all-nighters at the library, like I was fucking jittery. Like it's one of those things where you feel like you know when you do something that you know is not entirely productive, but you kind of like slaving away into the little hours of the night.
Yes.
Like
I do it frequently.
And it's like it's not necessarily productive. It's just like you feel good because you're working when like other people aren't.
Well, it's also the fact that the world around you is quiet and there's less distractions and you get more stuff. Because I literally work from home all the time. I still prefer to stay up late because there's nobody else awake and I can get all my shit done.
Yeah.
But it's bad for me because then I live in a society where you have to get up at 9 or I say 9, that's when I get up. But it's well, you have to get up at 6 or 7 the next day. But I still prefer staying up late. But that's also because I have a delayed sleep cycle, which just to keep on brand is also a sign of ADHD.
It's an ADHD symptom bingo. It's like, you know when you're working really late and you just don't it's just yeah. No, I like doing stuff like that. It's good. It's also why I kind of like waking up early. I think it's like the same thing but reversed. Like I'm quite an early morning person on it. Like I kind of, to be honest, this is maybe a thing with like seasonal affective disorder, right? But I feel like during summer, I am like hot shit at getting up like early, and I like getting up at like 6 o'clock, and like I've even gotten up early at like 5 at some point, which I feel like was actually me just punishing myself and trying to prove something when I really should have just kept up at 6. But like
probably.
Getting up at 6 and then like going out, or like getting up at 6 and then immediately doing something always felt good. But I feel like as the nights get darker, I feel like I need to then pivot and start doing later nights and later morning rises. I feel like there's probably someone out there going, well, fucking duh. Like everyone's done that since ever, you piece of shit. But
I mean, some people don't. Some people keep their 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. this cycle their whole life. I'm not one of them.
I mean, did you see that apparently it's being discussed that the UK may abolish daylight savings?
Good, they should, because it fucks everybody up.
It fucks everyone up, but
it's the only thing over here that Democrats and Republicans unanimously voted on. Like, yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah,
like,
well, it's the only thing was that I think is that it will be shit for like winter here, because it's like they plan on having British summertime be the standard, which means that mornings in Scotland are gonna be like fucking pitch black. You know, it's gonna be like nothing. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I would love to get rid of it, because I was sick of. There was always that pain in the arse bit in spring where you were like booking meetings when you were working, and if you were booking international meetings and you were like booking them ahead for when daylight savings had passed, you had to like just do fucking mental gymnastics to do it. But yeah, I think that they're wanting to have British summertime as the norm, which is fine.
I mean, they've shown it adversely affects people. They've
shown
that
massively.
It causes health problems and mental health problems, and it's just, we don't need it anymore. But it's, I mean, I am one of those weirdos. I have a biphasic sleeping pattern, because everything about me has to be bi, apparently. I literally sleep for 4 hours at a time. I get up and I do more things, and I go back to sleep for 4 hours, and that's how I get my 8 hours in, because I can't do 8 hours consistently.
See, that sounds kind of nice in a way.
Yeah, it's how they used to do it when we didn't have electricity. There was a lot of things where, you know, there's lots of accounts in like medieval Europe and all these things. You had from religious, you know, like the nunneries and everything else. They would go to bed, they'd wake up, and they'd do stuff in the middle of the night, usually to have their midnight mass or whatever. And they'd do things, they'd be productive by candlelight, and then they'd go back to bed for a bit. I'm going, why do we not do that anymore?
That sounds it makes more fucking sense amazing.
It's hard to put all of your sleep in at one. You know, there's so much emphasis on getting 8 hours of sleep a day, and it's hard for some people to do that. And also the pressure to do it can make you an insomniac as well. I literally work with, because I have delayed sleep cycle, I talk to my therapist about it, and she deals with a lot of these disorders as part of ADHD, and she's going, oh, you should try biphasic sleep. And I literally will go to sleep for 4 hours, I wake up, I do things because I feel rejuvenated and refreshed, and then I go back to sleep again for 4 to 5 hours, and then it starts all over again. So, you got a cat in the background.
Lock them in.
Right.
Lock them in.
Anyway, how's everyone doing while I's dealing with a cat?
To be fair, like just hearing about that, like, yeah, I wish that was something that I could do. I've always found it an absolute pain in the arse about that 8 hours. I've never been a napping person. I think I've never seen, like, I've always seen napping throughout the day as like a thing that I should be doing something else.
Oh, there's Hello Lovely Scientist dropping history and facts into the chat for us. Historian A. Roger Eckerch has argued that before the Industrial Revolution, interrupted sleep was dominant in Western civilization. He draws evidence from more than 500 references to a segmented sleeping pattern in documents from the ancient, medieval, and modern world. Other historians, such as Crave Kozlowski, have endorsed Eckerch's analysis. According to Eckerch's argument, adults typically sleep in 2 distinct phases, bridged by an intervening period of wakefulness of approximately 1 hour. This time was used to pray and reflect and to interpret dreams, which were more vivid than that hour than upon waking in the morning. This was also a favourite time for scholars and poets to write uninterrupted, whereas still others visited neighbours, engaged in sexual activity, or committed petty crime.
So, I'm just thinking of how that works then, because so apparently between 6 and 9 hours of sleep, a typical adult will complete 4 or 5 REM cycles. They always talk about like the stages of sleep and how REM's the really good one, and when your alarm goes off while you're in the middle of REM sleep, it's what makes you feel sluggish and shite. So in those 4 hours, I suppose you're maybe completing what, like 2 cycles of REM sleep. Then you're probably getting up naturally at the end of it, and then being able to go into another 2 hours after you've done a bit of productivity. Because I find myself actually, I probably do it already, but like I tend to wake up in the middle of the night all the time, and it's like maybe I should try and do something during that time and then go back to sleep. But apparently we'll need to start work at 9 o'clock or earlier. So
yeah, it's not attainable with current working standards, unfortunately. I do it because I am self-employed and also chronically ill, so I do what I need to do to keep my body functioning. But it was one of those things where I have been a chronic lifelong insomniac, and doing the biphasic sleep pattern is the only way I've ever consistently gotten 8 hours sleep within a 24-hour cycle. It is the only way I've ever achieved it. I've never managed it any other time. So, and although there's some studies that say, getting 8 hours all at once is best for you, my neurologist is quite happy with me doing biphasic sleeping. As long as I'm getting enough sleep. It doesn't have to be all at once. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, as Solo C89 says, capitalism getting in the way yet again.
Nah, that's fair. Yeah, maybe this is something I can try and get into. I mean, it sounds lovely because I feel like some of the best sleeps I have is when I've done that kind of like waking up. It's why you always feel good when you wake up in the middle of the night and you look at your phone and you have 4 hours of fucking sleep left. You always feel good about it, right? You always feel fucking amazing. You're like, I can't believe I've got so much more sleep to get. It's the best thing in the world. So yeah, I imagine being able to feel that all the time. Because you are only sleeping for 4 hour stints and then you're getting to do something and you're like, yeah, now time for another 4 hours. But no, that's all good. Joy, I'm just thinking about our time here. Is this maybe a good place to maybe wrap it up?
Probably.
Cool. Right, I'll
8 minutes left.
Sound. Well, I'll do that then. Well, thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Ice Sphere. Sporadic talking about Scooby Doo for a large chunk of it, but of course also covering Amazon, covering our favourite sweets, and then of course we got into good chat about sleep cycles there, which was good fun. For those of you who are still in chat, don't go away. We're obviously going to have our kind of 10 minutes to the other side, but we're going to wrap up the Ice Sphere for just now. Hope you all have a great evening, afternoon, morning. Have a good week, and we'll see you in the next one. Catch you in a bit, folks.
Bye-bye.